Welcome back to more discussing Fire Engage units. We are almost done. We only had the late game units to talk about and the DLC units to talk about, so yeah. Since I am talking about the late game units, that means that I'm gonna be spoiling a lot in this episode, I only watched this video of being the game, basically, that is what I recommend, because we're going to be talking about the last 4 units in the game. All these units are recruited past Chapter 17, and after Chapter 17 is kind of like the beginning of the end, kind of. It's kind of the start of the last 2 arcs, basically, that's why, I'm going to be spoiling a lot, and this does mean that, I can be a little bit less ambiguous with some supports I talked about before, that'll be nice. So, I think now we're gonna get started, now that I've gotten that little spoiler warning out of the way, without further ado, let's talk about these last 4 units, and we're gonna be starting today with Linden. So, Linden is a very strange unit. You get him in Chapter 18, the first map after this, endgame, or the start of these last 2 arcs basically begins, because we have the Lucia, and then we basically have the Grand Monarch, basically. So Linden, he's an enemy unit on Chapter 18, and you can recruit him by talking to him with either Lear, Ivy, or Hortensia. And he's on the right side map. He is a little bit annoying to recruit actually, but because if you do, he can actually use the Magic Ballista on the right side of the map if you allow him to, so you want to be careful. He also has a Foron, but it does mean that if you are, you can lure him out with that to make him easier to recruit, but I think what I mainly do is I use a Goddess Dance turn 1 to clear out that right side of the map and make recruiting him easier on future turns, You can also use a Silent Stop on him too if you really want. That's not a bad idea either. So let's talk about what Linda brings to the table. He promoted at level 17 and he's level 5, so his eternal level's around level 22 in that case. So he's a kind of a strange unit. His base stats are, I guess, alright. You probably have a unit that's stronger than him at this point, but 19 magic and 90 speed isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. The 10 build isn't bad either. His other stats are pretty well run too. 30 HP, total defense is alright bulk. He has 21 dex, so he's decently reliable at hit rate, and 8 strength could be fun with reclassing. Because that does mean that you can reclass him to a physical class, he might do well. And you might be wondering why you would do such a thing. Well, we'll get into that. And he also comes to the 4 and 2, so if you want to use that on someone else, then it's the you can also buy another one in the shop, I do believe. I think the only other way to get 4-ons are Forging Elephanters, so it's nice that you can get a viable pickup from him as well. But like I said, I think at this point, I don't think you're going to be using him as your main magical unit, especially because his growth rates are a little bit on the lower end. I think it is because, he is an old man after all. He has 65 HP, 25 strength, 55 magic, 30 dex, 40 speed, 25 defense, 70 res, 30 luck and 10 build. So he's definitely a high base stat, but kind of low growth unit. As you would probably expect. So now what I do appreciate though is they decide to have a little bit of fun with him and give him a fun personal skill. All the late game units do have a pretty decent one except for one of them. I think 3 out of 4 definitely have a really useful personal skill, and that does go a long way, I feel like, to making these units a bit more interesting to think about. Again, Linden has a pretty interesting one in Weapon Insight. So if the unit is equipped with a weapon of lower level than foes, you get crit plus 20 during combat. That's an even bigger crit boost than Blood Fury. But what does its description mean? Basically, if Linden uses a weapon that's a lower weapon rank than the enemy, then he gets a 20 crit boost. So I think the idea is pretty obvious what we do with Linden. We want to, go for crit builds. The only problem is that tomes aren't the best with critting. I think most of them don't even have crit on them. I can have a look. I do have the tomes listed here. Excalibur has 5 crit, and then the best you're gonna get is Ill Surge, which is 10 crit. So yeah, you're gonna need work to get some nice crit with a tome. But yeah, of course, the idea though is that we want to stack crit as much as we can. Of course, the Wrath skill comes to mind because that's another 30. I did learn it was 30, up to 30 extra crit, and of course you can combine that with Vantage too. Of course, when thinking about this too, yeah, Veronica does become an interesting pick because of Reprisal, so yeah, even if he doesn't get the crit, his damage should be good enough if he's taking a lot of damage for this gimmicky Wrath build. But yeah, and of course Vantage should be considered too, so yeah, Leaf might also be an interesting choice as well, or just inheriting his Vantage skill. So yeah, but I think, yeah, if you want to do this, you may actually want to reclass him to a physical class. So, because, yeah, you can definitely do that because his growth rates. Because, yeah, he does have 25 strength and 55 magic, which I do believe means that he actually has equal strength and magic. Yes, so that does mean that, yeah, you can definitely make him a physical class if you want. Of course, like, yeah, you could kind of mimic Panette and make him like a Berserker Warrior. Give him like a Killer Axe. Killer Axe also kind of has a low rank, so then it will constantly trigger because most enemies at this point are going to be using silver weapons or silver tier weapons. So yeah, and yeah, that means that yeah, you're gonna get like, you can definitely get like 70 crit on the weapon on its own. If you use the right engrave on the Killer Axe or whatever killer weapon you want to use, and yeah, you can have a lot of fun with that. Again, his base strength might be kind of bad. You definitely want one of those two classes I mentioned, Warrior Berserker, because that will put his strength base at a good amount, so yeah, they can work from there. So yeah, again, kind of a weird gimmick. It does kind of take away from the fact that he's kind of good at magic, but yeah, again, it's probably the best way to use his personal skills, so yeah, I thought I'd mention it. So, yeah, that's Linden. Again, that's a very strange unit with his personal skill, but yeah, outside that though, he does actually have good weapon ranks. He does have the Staff Blue proficiency, so that means that he gets the max weapon ranks as a Sage, which is cool. So he gets A rank and stars, obviously. Again, he can be used as a staff bot too. He can be used as a support unit if you really want as well, because again, he does join with decent base stats, so if for some reason you need another person to use Micaiah or Byleth or something, he can definitely do it if you really want. Again, his base stats at this point are workable. Like, again, they're not super impressive. Again, you probably have a unit that outclasses him at this point, but still. Again, I can definitely see something with those base stats. I think they can be used, and yeah, like I said, you can give him Emblem that has good synergy with him. I probably wouldn't give him Silicon, to be honest. I don't think he's powerful enough for her, but Micaiah and Byleth do seem like a good choice, and yeah, depending on what kind of crypt build you want to go, yeah, I can see Ike being a lot of fun too, if you want to go the, I mean, I can also work on a magic build. It's just that, yeah, you won't be getting more magic, but it does get into Wrath a lot easier with a Goose Run. So yeah, that's another thing you consider. It's kind of a weird build. And yeah, probably better if you decide to make him a physical unit, but yeah. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say, really. And I did talk about some of his emblem synergies too, like, yeah, again, Veronica could be a fun choice too, if you want to go with a Wrath build. Although, yeah, to be honest, Reprisal and Raptor had the best synergy in the world. I mean, they do have good synergy. Just that, yeah, Reprisal, it can just outright one-shot things, especially the plus variant, so you don't need it too much. That means that Wrap becomes less useful, but yeah, again, you can go for it. Maybe one-shot some extremely high health or high bulk enemies, and yeah, that could be a lot of fun. So I think that's, yeah, again, that's really all I have to say. Again, joining really late does mean that he does have less time to shine as well, like any old pre-promotes, so yeah. That's why, yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I haven't used him yet, but I kind of want to, because his character is actually a lot of fun. I think we should go on to that now. So his character has actually got a decent mix. I haven't seen that much of his character, but from what I've seen, it's really good, actually. So yeah, he has a kind of serious side. I guess I'll go. Actually, no, I'll go with the comedic side first. So the thing about him is that he's part mad scientist. It's kind of a weird way to phrase that, but to be honest, he does kind of feel like one. Because yeah, he one of his main funny gimmicks is that he likes to use thunder magic with experiments. So with Jade, for example, I think the support starts with him telling Jade that he thunder cooks his food. Yeah, nice thunder. And then of course there's the two main ones that really drive into the mad scientist role that he has. The Alear support and the Morpheus support. So Alear is pretty simple. I've only seen the C support, I think, but yeah, it does look like a interesting support. From what I can tell, basically, Lyndon is very interested in the fact that Alear was asleep for 1,000 years, so he's thinking of doing some research on them to figure out a way to maybe cure insomnia, but the way he does it is casting thunder on Alear a couple times, and the hair may not survive. Which, if you're female Alear, yeah, you probably like her hair if you pick female Alear, so yeah, you probably don't want that. And yeah, of course, Alear rightfully says, maybe don't experiment on me, and then leaves. Again, I'm not so sure how the rest of the support goes, but it's an interesting setup. The other comedic support is Morvia, obviously, so basically, for some reason, he wants to cast Elf Thunder on some corn. And Morvia is the unfortunate person that has to, well, help him. But yeah, Morvia is kind of concerned for the fact that, yeah, he's casting Elf Thunder very near a person. That could hurt a lot, so he rightfully refuses. But then, things get kind of hilarious in the B support, where, we learn about his deceased wife, which, yeah, that's kind of sad. He is 60 years old, so I guess it is, I guess it does make sense. I think there is one support that talks about his family. I'm not so sure which one it is. It might be the Hortensia one, but yeah, I could be wrong. I think it's another support. The Hortensia support talks about other things, but anyway. So yeah, Morvia feels kind of bad for him, and then says he'll do anything for Morvia, and then Morvia, yeah, kind of plays, and Linda kind of plays Morvia and says that, yeah, now he has to help with the corn again and the Elf Thunder, and Morvia's reactions to this are great though. It's definitely one of Morvia's more humorous supports, and I do like that a lot. And in the A support, yeah, Morvia talks about like his regrets and stuff, because yeah, that is kind of a main part of his character. He's not lived a very good life, and yeah, he does have a couple of regrets in it. And then Lyndon's like, let's do something that will help like ease some of those regrets. So blasting the cold Elf Thunder again, but then Morvia's like, okay, you've done me twice already. I'll help you out as long as you don't, zap me. So yeah. So there's that. Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty humorous support, but yeah, he does have two pretty serious supports though. The Hortensia support, which I did talk about a bit before, but I might go into more detail now, and the Saphir support. But we're gonna go with the Saphir support when we actually talk about Saphir. So yeah. So how do these supports go? So let's talk about the Hortensia support first. I'll briefly go over the Saphir support, and then yeah, we'll talk about Saphir then, and then we'll go more into detail. But anyway, the Hortensia support's a great one, because it also helps Hortensia's character a lot. So Hortensia basically wants more magic lenses from Linda, because yeah, they were good friends back in Illusia, so yeah. But yeah, Lyndon kind of refuses because he's kind of busy, he's kind of old too, and in the B supports he even states that Hortensia is already in a good place because of her because she's already like top of the academy and stuff, so yeah. Lyndon thinks he can't really add much more, and then yeah, that's basically how the support ends. But yeah, you can tell that yeah, there is kind of something up with Hortensia. That's in the A support, where yeah, it seems like yeah, she's one, missing her father, and also having lots of regret about losing him, and also worrying about the future as well. It's pretty sad stuff. But then Lyndon comes in and then tells his interesting story, where he actually wanted Hyacinth's uncle to be the king, but then Hyacinth won out. And while he was a bit bitter about that, Hyacinth was a kind person once. It's kinda hard to tell, kinda like Garen, but yeah. Um, but yeah, anyway, so yeah, he basically tells that his purpose is to live to serve Illusia, and then yeah, Linden reminds Hortensia of those words, and yeah, that really peps her back up, so yeah. Again, that's a really great support. Again, it really helps highlight just how interesting Hortensia's character, and yeah, Linden's definitely a good beneficiary of this, considering yeah, they were pretty good friends. Back in the day when yeah, before the events of the game, so yeah. Again, it's really interesting stuff, and I do like that yeah, it was Linden of all people did that, because yeah, I feel like Ivy probably could have done something similar, but yeah, their support is a bit different, so yeah. Focusing on like their families and how they treat each other, so yeah. I think yeah, Linda was definitely the right person to teach Hortensia this lesson, so yeah. Again, I'm very fond of Linden for doing this, and yeah, it's one of his best supports. And then the Saphir one, yeah, it kind of relates to, well, her backstory. Basically, yeah, she's had it quite rough because of Illusia, and then Linden's going to do what he can to help her out, and yeah, we'll talk about that when we talk about Saphir. But anyway, I think that's good enough with Linden. Again, I haven't seen too many of his supports, but yeah, like I said, he's got a very good mix of humorous and also quite serious as well. So yeah, he's a great unit because of that. Unit-wise, yeah, you need to get a bit creative, considering that, yeah, again, I think at this point his base stats are a little bit hard to work with. Like I said, they don't look bad, but again, you probably have a magical unit that outclasses those stats at this point, so yeah. Yeah, it mostly happens with pre-promotes in this series, even like, I mean, the really good ones will outstat even your units you're trading up, like Pent for example, and Percival, but yeah, most of them don't, so yeah. Again, you need to be a bit, like, creative, so yeah. Well, luckily though, Weapon Insight is a fun skill to get creative, and I have told you some ways you could try making use of it, so yeah. So yeah, like I said, I do like this unit quite a bit, and yeah, I want to try using him too, so yeah. Because again, he does intrigue me a lot. I'm not so sure how I want to do it. I have for some different builds, like a Hector build too with the Rune Sword. That could be a lot of fun. But yeah, again, I'm not 100% sure what I really want to do with Linden. So yeah, if I do use him in my next playthrough, so yeah. Again, I do really want to though, because again, I really like this dude. I do know a certain someone that I like to watch. He also really likes his old men, and yeah, I think Linden does fit into the theme quite well. He's another very great old man, and yeah, of course, Farman does do old men really well. I was also kind of reminded of the Venusaur. I don't remember too much, but I think they do talk about like the old ages and stuff. It is kind of weird though, because I'm pretty sure Vander's in his 40s and Linden's in his 60s, so yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but anyway. But yeah, like I said though, I like Linden a lot, and yeah, like I said, I do want to try using him, and again, I do like what they did with his character and stuff. It's super interesting stuff, so yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next unit. I did already kind of mention them a little bit now, but yeah, it'll be another interesting unit to talk about. Let's move on to Saphir now. So Saphir joined to the next map, Chapter 19. A kind of difficult map with two kind of strong bosses and a lot of miasma. And yeah, unfortunately, she does struggle a bit on this map. Maybe because of her inventory being a little bit specific, a Brave Axe is nice, but yeah, it's only player phase, so that means that on the enemy phase she might get a bit, she might have some issues, but she does have a lot of build though to use it. Apparently she only gets weighed down 1 by it from what I can tell, so yeah, that's actually pretty decent. She does have a pretty good 15 base build, so yeah. So yeah, as a unit, she promoted level 19, and her level 7, so that means that her internal level is around level 26. So anyway, as a unit, she actually has also pretty good base stats. Like, yeah, 24 strength is quite a bit, 19 speed's not terrible, 19 defense is actually pretty good as well, and 50 build of course is quite nice, 23 dex as well. So yeah, she definitely has good base stats, but again, you probably again have a unit that has more base stats than her. Especially in like the axe department, especially been using like a powerhouse like Panette. I mean, there's a lot of warriors in this game that can get quite strong at this point, so yeah. From what I can tell, she has just the axe proficiency, which, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I feel like I've heard that she might have had the bow proficiency, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it looks like the axe one, so yeah, that's something good to remember. So yeah, like I said, her inventory is pretty interesting, even if it's a little bit weird on this map. She can do a lot of damage to the Brave Axe, but only on the player phase. On the aid phase, you need to be a little careful. Tomahawk, not a great weapon, but considering that she's a backup unit though, it can enable that. And yeah, that is one thing that she's pretty well known for, which we'll go into. And yeah, that's because, yeah, she can she can definitely take advantage of the class quite well, let's just say. So, yeah, I think I'll go over her, like, support roles, because again, starting with 2000 SP is quite nice, like, allow you to do a lot of cool things. So, of course, being a backup unit, a warrior, I should be saying, she has access to longbows, and that means that, yeah, she can really help with those. She can obviously use them to trigger chain attacks, but another thing you can do is debuff, with Draconic Axe. It's a skill that you may want to consider inheriting to it if you're going to use it as a support unit, essentially as a warrior, because yeah, then you can longbow things from range and then hex them, and then also participate in chain attacks while you're doing that as well, which yeah, that can be very useful because again, more Draconic Hex never hurts, because again it's a powerful debuffing skill. I've also heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard like you could do something similar to the Wolf Knight build, which, yeah, that can also debuff with its Hobble skill. Hobble plus Draconic Hex does sound very interesting, to be honest, so yeah. It's something that she could do, but I feel like, yeah, if you're gonna do something like that, you've probably done it early in the game, so yeah. But yeah, back to Sophia then. Yeah, like I said, I think that Draconic Hex build is pretty good, with the longbows and stuff, from what I can tell, so yeah, that's definitely something that's good to remember with her, so yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, let's go into some more fun builds, I think. Like I said, the support... Actually, no, there's one more support build we'll mention. This one can also be done by Linden, because you don't need good stats. And that is the Dual Assist, Brave Assist build. I already talked about that with, I already talked about this build with, Goldberry, obviously. Who, yeah, they support. I need to remember to talk about that, so yeah. But yeah, they can do it too because they have 2000 SP, but yeah, they'll need a little bit of levels because again, they'll need to level up a little bit after, they need to level up a little bit after, yeah, becoming a hero, so they can get to Brave Assist, but yeah. Of course, the idea is that, yeah, you can use Sophia and Linden to be Brave Assist warrior, or heroes, sorry, and then, yeah, with the, Dual Assist as well, and then yeah, they can also help with the chain attacks as well, you can stack up a lot of them. It's not bad use for these, like get pre-modes because they're starting SP, so yeah, it's something you can consider. But yeah, there again, that's more support based. So yeah, let's talk about some more fun builds today, because I feel like she has the potential. Again, the base doesn't look too bad. Of course, starting as a warrior is pretty cool because that's a good class. Of course, if we're going to talk about synergies, let's talk about Personal Skill, which again, it's an interesting one. It is the Will to Win. If your unit's HP is 50% or less at the start of combat, you get hit and avoid plus 20 during combat. So yeah, it's kind of like Panette's skill, except triggers at even lower health, and it actually increases the hit and avoid instead. So again, this points to a Wrath Vantage build, because again, she can... Even though it's not as good as Panette's personal skill, it's still interesting because, yeah, she can get pretty... Like, she can very easily get 100% accurate with the right engrave. I think the Erica one is a good choice with, like, a Killer Axe. And then, yeah, you can go with the Wrath, and then, yeah, she should be basically 100% accurate. She might not get 100% crit, unlike Panette, because Panette does have that slight boost. But, yeah... Again, this Killer Axe build, yeah, with the Killer Axe, yeah, and the Will to Win, she should be pretty accurate. Especially, again, if you give it the right engrave. That's basically her deal. But I think it might be even better with Reprisal, because Reprisal, you're already doing so much damage, especially with a unit like her, who has a lot of HP, especially at base. And she does have 105 HP growth, so yeah, Reprisal, of course, is pretty good synergy done. And yeah, with Reprisal, you don't need to rely on critical hits. All you need with Reprisal is damage. Because, yeah, it boosts damage based on lost HP. And yeah, she can add a lot of damage. So, you can use like a Vantage Reprisal build, and then yeah, she should be able to reliably one-shot things if you get down into will to win range. So yeah, again, that's another interesting use for it. Again though, again, Reprisal is kind of a busted skill. It's one of the best skills, if not the best skill, to boost damage in this game. So yeah. So it's not like, yeah, she's super special for being able to use it, because a lot of units can use it to some powerful degree, but again, it is interesting to make use of her personal. Because again, the personal I feel like has some potential. And yeah, of course, you could also maybe try stacking up like a Void as well. It could work. You probably need the right class to do so. I don't know if Warrior is the correct class to do that with, but again, Warrior does have pretty good growth rates. And yeah, I haven't even talked about those yet, so why not? Let's talk about her growth rates. 105 HP, 55 strength, 0 magic, 35 dex, 45 speed, 40 defense, 10 res, 20 luck, and 15 build. It's pretty solid. Again, the Warrior does have the best defensive growth in the game, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. So yeah. Again, very interesting unit, this one. Again, maybe not the most interesting, but yeah, she definitely has some interesting options going on. Like, yeah, that will to win personal skill is pretty interesting, and yeah, her class of course is pretty good, and yeah, of course, even if you don't want to use it that much, she does have the support niche where yeah, she can help you with the chain attacks and the Draconic Hex and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I think that's enough about her as a unit. Let's go on to a character now. And again, this is one thing that people like about a lot. She has probably the darkest backstory in the game, and yeah, I can definitely see that being quite interesting for people who think that this game is too lighthearted. So her backstory again is quite dark. Basically, she was only 5 years old because this happened 30 years ago, and she's 35 years old. Her village, she lives in like a fishing village, but then it got attacked by a Lucia, and then she lost her parents and her best friend. And yeah, and this regret is still felt to this day. And yeah, basically her whole life, because again, she was only 5 years old when this happened. And yeah, this is seeing the Louis support. And yeah, Louis does think about ways that she can help maybe ease the regret a little bit, which is why he thinks about making some tea for her. So yeah, I do like that support too. Yeah, Louis definitely is a pretty kind-hearted person that supports, so yeah, it's great to see that. But yeah, of course, where this backstory gets really interesting though is... Actually, no, there's one part that Louis support I need to mention, is the fact that, yeah, she still has, like, nightmares about this too, yeah. It was a pretty traumatic experience, considering that, yeah, she still feels the pain of it from 30 years ago, so yeah. Again, it's a really well done backstory, to be honest, especially in the support god. Again, the Louis support's really good. I do like the fact that, yeah, he does try his best to ease the pain, even if he does know that tea won't just magically make it go away. Which again, I feel like that was pretty well done. So yeah, I can appreciate Louis for doing that. Of course, the main interesting support with those is the Linden one. So yeah, basically, yeah, another thing, this is also kind of mentioned in the list support, yeah. Alea thinks that she is fighting with basically a grudge. That's where like a lot of her strength comes from, and then Alea worries that, yeah, that might be... He is worried, well, they are worried that, yeah, she is fighting with, like, what's the right word? That the powers come from a dark place, and that could definitely cause problems, but yeah. But yeah, I think what I remember from that support too is pretty interesting too, because yeah, even though Leia can't forgive Lucia, but yeah, he does realize that, yeah, you need to move on from that as well. I think, yeah, that's why he's trying to tell Saphira as well. But anyway, let's go into the Linden support, because again, that's why I'm really interested in her. So with Linden, basically, yeah, she wants to know if Linden was responsible for, was someone responsible for the attack on the village. He wasn't. does, by the B support, he does figure out what is going on with her, because he looks into her past, and yeah, at least the B support, where yeah, Linden even says that if it makes her happy, she can take his life if that would please her, and maybe get rid of all the regrets. But yeah, she can't do it. So then yeah, she leaves after that, and then yeah, by the A support, yeah, they reconcile basically, and yeah, hopefully that will help her move on. These two do eventually get along according to the ending. So yeah, so again, that's a great support. Again, it does show a good again, it's a great support to help show off her dark past, and yeah, I do appreciate them. I do appreciate how it's handled as well. So I do quite like Saphira a lot because of that. So yeah, but yeah, she does have a more lighthearted side too. I'm thinking of the Goldberry support, where yeah, Goldberry tries to trash talk her. But they actually help each other out in this cooking contest. I don't know why Goldberry wants to trash talk Saphira of all people, but yeah, she did, so yeah. Another support I remember from her is the Panette one, where basically Panette thinks that Saphira's being too vulgar in battle, and she wants to help work on that. A little bit ironic, but yeah. But again, yeah, the main things about are those first couple of supports I mentioned, because again, they do a really good job of showing off a really dark past, and yeah, I really appreciate how well it was done. She's definitely one of the most nuanced characters in the game, even though she's not even a main character. Again, like a dark past like that can work really well, and yeah, we don't really see, again, it is pretty unique for this game, because again, most of this cast is pretty lighthearted, and they don't have super dark backstories like this, but yeah. Again though, it was really well done, to be honest. And yeah, if you're a fan of like what Three Houses did with some of its dark backstories, then yeah, I feel like yeah, Saphira's gonna become quite an appealing unit because of that. So yeah, I think that's a good amount talked about, so yeah. Like I said, I find her pretty intriguing because of her supports and stuff. As a unit, yeah, again, you need to get a bit creative, but the personal skill, while it's not as fun as Linden's, it definitely seems like an interesting one at the very least. So yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a fun one to think about building around, and yeah, again, she can definitely help out with chain attack stuff. You really need like filler members, so yeah. So yeah, I can definitely appreciate that for her. And yeah, again, like I said, the character's amazingly built, and even though, yeah, she doesn't do that much in the main plot, and her story map doesn't really do much for her either. I guess I could talk about that a little bit since I skimmed it over. Yeah, she's in chapter 19. She basically was told that, yeah, to go to Illusion to help out the Divine Dragon and stuff, but yeah, she got revived a little late, so yeah. I think she also learns about the past of King Morin as well there. I think she might have already knew that, but yeah. It is something that's mentioned in her ending too. I think that's another kind of regret she has, but I'm not so sure if any support digs that up. They might, but we'll see. Again, that would be an interesting thing to cover. Because again, she was pretty... She did like King Morin a lot. And yeah, it was pretty sad. And yeah, she was probably really sad to hear about his passing. So yeah, basically, yeah, on her journey map, she's in kind of a precarious spot. She can recruit Leah, Oldcrest, and Diamond. I've never seen anyone recruit her with Oldcrest actually, even though you very well could. I've only seen Diamond and Leah, but yeah. But yeah, how I normally do it, you can obviously fly towards her if any of those units are flying units, which definitely helps, or you can just use like a warp staff, or a rescue staff or something like that, so yeah. And yeah, she's a green on that map, I'm pretty sure too. You definitely want to recruit her very early because again, it's a pretty dangerous map. And you definitely don't want to get caught, you don't want to caught up in the violence on that map, so yeah. But again, it's not the greatest introduction. Linda doesn't really have the greatest introduction either because, I mean, there is one great thing about Linda though. He actually has a boss quote with the boss on that map, so that was really cool. It's actually a really good one too. But yeah, other than that though, yeah, he isn't super present on the map, so yeah. Same with Saphira. But again, they do make up for it with their really fun characters, to be honest. So yeah, I feel like these are... I feel like these kind of characters are what people really like in Fire Emblem. And yeah, Saphir definitely, especially if you like Three Houses a lot and their characters, so yeah. So there's that. I think that's good enough in Saphir. Again, I do find her quite interesting. I don't know if I want to use her. I think I'm a bit more interested in using Linden personally, but yeah. Again, she does seem like a pretty solid late game unit. So yeah, there's that. Let's go on to the last 2 units now. And yeah, this should be quite interesting indeed. Alright, let's talk about Marvia now. So Marvia is one of the last 2 recruitable units in the game. So the good thing about Marvia is how like deployment slots work at this point in the game. Most of the game you've had 12, like during the last arc basically. It's around 12 or 11, depending on the map. But yeah, at this point in the game though, you're actually given 14. So I think the idea is that you use Marvia and the next unit to basically round out those deployment slots. So, and to be honest though, they do a very good job of doing that for you, so yeah. But yeah, what does Marvia bring to the table? It is pretty simple if you look at his class and his weapon ranks, but yeah. First up though, he does join Chapter 21, he's basically a free unit for that map, but also the next map, because the next map kind of continues on from it. So yeah, you're going to be using it for those 2 maps at least. And he can definitely help out quite a bit. So he actually has quite a lot going for him. He actually promoted to level 20 and he's level 12 as a Raw Knight, so his maternal level is around level 32. Which is pretty normal at this point. I think most of the units at this point are going to be around internal level 30. Anyway, so yeah, it makes sense. And he also starts a lot of SP too, 2500. So yeah, you can get 2000 SP skills because of that. Some that come to mind like Kanto, and maybe Speed Plus, maybe Staff Mastery too, so yeah. I think Staff Mastery is 1000 from my numbers, so yeah. If not, then it's like 2000, you can even get Divine Pulse too, and that's also a very good skill to consider on Marvia, because of his playstyle. But yeah, Marvia, he actually has some pretty solid base stats for this point, including Cat Build, I'm pretty sure 12. But yeah, a lot of his stats are extremely high. His class is kind of a well-balanced one. I'm pretty sure that Raw Knight does get some pretty decent growths in everything. But yeah, because of that too, he actually has some of the highest growth total in the game because again, his class is good at mostly everything, so he has a lot of growths and most stats to make up for that, so yeah. I guess we'll go with the growth rates now. 75 HP, 45 strength, 55 magic, 55 dex, 50 speed, 55 defense, 65 res, 25 luck, and 50 build. Yeah, this guy has a lot of stats to work with. And again, his base stats are really solid too. Again, I think at this point he's not going to be murdering everything, especially because he can't be given a bone ring for any of these 2 maps, or he can't be given an emblem for any of those 2 maps because he joins the middle of Chapter 21. And next up, you don't really have those, so yeah. Because plot, so yeah. But yeah, of course. Let's go over, well, 2 things about him. He can fight for you, he does have decent base stats, but again, I think at this point, he isn't going to be like killing everything, especially with his speed the way it is, but of course, you could help him out by giving him a strong emblem, obviously, to make up for his lack of power. Or lack of ability to kill things, but of course, I think the main thing that people are going to be using for, and probably the smart thing to do too, is his Star of Access. So he's a Raw Knight, he's pretty good for this class because he has the staff proficiency, the blue staff proficiency, so he gets B rank. And yeah, that does allow him the use of a lot of stars. I think the only ones he can't really use are like Fortify and Notice. So not too many stars he misses out on. And yeah, that's what he's going to be mainly doing. Being a staff bot, obviously. Another one if you really need it, which again, that could be useful. You can use like Recover for you to help top people off. You can Physic, of course. You can use like Warp and Rescue if need be. You can Rewarp even. So there's a lot of things this guy can do with stars, which is very useful. And yeah, that's mainly it. Of course, emblem synergies, of course. Emblems that make good use of stars and are good support-based emblems are a good fit. Of course, you fight him a lot with Micaiah, and yeah, Micaiah is definitely a good fit for him. He even gets A rank and stars thanks to her, so that's obviously quite useful. He can even use Fortify then. And of course, he does appreciate Augment and stuff. He is a Cav though, and that doesn't really get benefit from that, but that's okay. And of course, yeah, Byleth is a good pick too, although again, he is a Cav. So, Dex plus 10 though is decent, especially if you want to try triggering inactivation skill from with the rolls, or you just want better hit rate. So it's definitely not terrible. And he gets Arid Bar, which is a strong weapon. You could have some fun with that. With Byleth, but yeah, any like support-based emblem is definitely the way to go. I think Veronica could be a lot of fun because the things you could summon her get plus on movement if you're a Cav, so that's pretty fun. And yeah, like I said, if you want to have more fun, of course, you could try some more offensive emblems on him too, that could be a lot of fun. But yeah. Now, another thing about this class too is that it's an alright class, but there is another class that gives a kind of good competition for a similar role. I guess we'll go over what it kind of brings to the table, but first I'll go over his personal skill, which is Contemplative. Now, yeah, I will mention nothing too. The fact that he has a personal skill and the others don't in the Full Hounds, yeah, kind of suspicious, but anyway. So, this is the opposite of Jade's. If you wait without attacking or using items, he gets plus 2 defense. So that's cool, I guess, but he's gonna be doing a lot of things most of the time. So you might actually have trouble activating this. Because yeah, he's gonna be using like a lot of stars and stuff. So I don't know. It's like, it's technically not terrible, but yeah, it's not like super great either. So yeah. And yeah, I can kind of see Morvia being kind of a player phase unit because he does have a lot of movement, so yeah. And he gets Reforge as a Raw Knight, obviously, which is a skill I haven't talked about. It's not that great. If he's adjacent to something that an ally that gets broken in the enemy phase, he sacrifices some HP to unbreak them, which is cool, I guess, but very niche skill, this one. So I kind of prefer one thing I do kind of prefer on him is making him a Griffin, because even though Griffin makes him look a lot worse, he gets 11 swords, and that's better than the Flame Lance he comes with, and he still gets the good staff rank too, because Griffin has, I believe, the same staff rank as Raw Knight. Again, it's a bit more of a versatile class for me, become a little bit faster too, and have slightly better magic, I think, so yeah. I feel like it's a more fitting class for him, if you want to use him a bit more offensively, but his base Raw Knight class will get the job done if you need a late game support base, which is how most people are going to be using him. So yeah, again, that's one recasting option, and I did kind of talk about some emblem stuff. You can also use Sigurd on him, obviously, because he is a mounted unit, a cav unit, obviously. It could be a good fit, but yeah, again, I don't know. You probably want to give Sigurd to someone a bit more powerful at this point, because again, he's like a late game filler, but a pretty decent late game filler unit, obviously. And yeah, you don't really need to bend over backwards to deploy him either, because of the point slots at this point, so yeah. Unless you have been using more than 12 units, which I do sometimes, so yeah. But again, most people don't. Like my brother, yeah, most playthroughs, Morvia does come along as a late game filler for the last couple of maps, so yeah. So there's that. I don't really have much else to say because again, pretty simple unit to talk about this one. But yeah, let's go over him as a character. He is interesting because a lot of things happened with him. In regards to the game itself. So for those who don't remember, Fire Engage actually got leaked a long time ago. A long time before it got revealed. And yeah, a lot of people couldn't believe it because of how they looked. Yeah, it looked odd. And also about what people are hearing about the rumors about how the emblems looked and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, one thing that did happen was, one thing we did get to see though, and yeah, it kind of spoiled a few things. It showed off a support between Vander and Morvia. So we kind of already, thanks to the leak, we actually kind of already knew that he was going to be recruitable. So yeah, whoops. Anyway, of course, then again, the game didn't really do a good job of hiding it either because he has the personal skill, and the others don't really. So yeah, yeah, it was pretty obvious that this dude was going to join us at some point. But anyway, so yeah. But yeah, anyway, so what does he do in the story? Well, yeah, being one of the main four villains, he does do a lot of stuff as a villain until he defects. He actually has kind of an interesting backstory, which I believe is revealed in some supports. I think he has a support with Saline, where he reveals that he was born in Firene, but he was taken to Elusia by his mother because his father died, and then that's when he met up with Vale and became a full Hound member. So yeah. And then yeah, that's how he started worshipping the Veil Dragon and all that jazz. So yeah. Interesting backstory to be honest. But yeah, let's talk about what he does in the plot. He's first introduced in chapter 10 after, you know, your rings get taken. It's certainly before that, but anyway. And yeah, he basically just serves along the other hounds, although you can tell by his actions, he isn't like super malicious or anything. He does kind of respect you from time to time, but yeah. Again, it doesn't really seem like he's going to randomly join you unless something happens. Oh wait, something randomly happened, chapter 21. Okay. Yeah, Madeline dies after we get to learn her backstory. Not great, but to be honest though, what Morpheus does afterwards was great. Where yeah, he completely his emotional response to Marnie's death was really well done in my opinion, and yeah. Of course, yeah. There's no need for him to stay with the Four Hounds anymore, so he defects, and now joins Alea so he can help save Vale, because in that map, yeah, Vale is kind of mind controlled. And yeah, Marnie tried her best to stop the mind control on Vale, because yeah, she's wearing a crown that year. She's wearing a crown that completely overtook her mind. Basically, yeah, Vale has like two personas, and yeah, the evil persona has basically completely taken over the crown. But yeah, Marnie tried her best to break it, it didn't work, she died. And then yeah, Morvia swears to take revenge for Marnie's stuff, and yeah, that's how he joins you. And then yeah, he joins the chapter later. And eventually, yeah, you do also get to rescue Vale, and then Morvia's gonna be there to help protect her. But yeah, I kind of also skimmed over another interesting thing. That's before we learn about Marnie's backstory, and yeah. The fact that, yeah, he's actually willing to help Alea before he becomes an enemy, or no, before he becomes an ally, because yeah, he says that even after learning about Alea's true lineage, they are Veil Dragon, one of Sombron's children, yeah, he's still willing to help out Alea to go to Lithos so they can go rescue Vale. Because yeah, a lot of what he does, he's kind of like a Kabu, except he only really focuses on Vale. So yeah, Vale of course changes sides, kind of like in this scenario, then yeah, he'll follow her. So yeah, it's kind of like an inverse Kabu of sorts. I'm not so sure how you would say it, but yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's yeah, what he does. And then after that, yeah, I don't think he really chimes on anything. Vale's definitely the main star of the show after that, so yeah, she gets to do a lot. So yeah, like I said, I do like what he does in the plot, and he does have some pretty good supports. I already talked about the Linden one, which is hilarious, but yeah, his supports are okay. I don't know too many about them. I don't know about all of them, but yeah, there are definitely some cool ones though, like his yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the general gist about his supports though are the fact that yeah, he hasn't lived a very good life, and yeah, there's also some regret too about him being like obviously on the villain side because he was a Four Hounds, so yeah. He also kind of seeks atonement too, and yeah, you can see that in his Alea support too, from what I remember about as well. I think, yeah, this, like, bad world for 2 is kind of seen the Rosara support, and yeah, Rosara says that, yeah, Rosara, like, suggests ways that he can, like, lighten up so that he can view the world in a much better light. So yeah, there's that. Again, that's pretty good. Again, he does have that comedic support with Linden, but that's really... I mean, yeah, he also has the Amber support, where Amber almost gives him, like, a laxative. I don't know what that is, but you can tell me if you want. And yeah, Amber, of course, he actually drinks it, kind of like his Diamond support, he actually drinks, like, truth potion or whatever it is, and yeah, that was kind of a funny react. or funny like reaction. But yeah, of course this is Veil support too, where yeah, he seems a bit overprotective of Veil, but yeah, it does make a lot of sense because Veil was persecuted quite a bit for being a failed track, and something we'll learn about when we talk about her. So yeah, so there's that. And yeah, other than that though, yeah, I don't really have much else to say about him. Again, I do like him quite a bit. He was definitely a very well done character. I wouldn't say he's super well done. Again, the full hands do have the issues, but I feel like it's not really Morvia's fault. Morvia does what he could in this situation, I feel like. So that's why I don't really mind him. And yeah, I do like how he does the fact over. I feel like that was one of the more well done things about the Hounds, so yeah. And of course, his loyalty to Veil, of course, that was also great to see. Because again, I mean, it was pretty easy for him to maybe join Alir's side, but yeah, of course, he is willing to do a lot to help protect Lady Veil, so yeah. And yeah, you can even view like Morvia as basically Vanda, but for Veil too, which is pretty cool. I think that's why they support too. I don't know too much about that support. The only thing I do remember about it is that yeah, it was leaked with the first leak of Engage, but yeah. From what I remember though, it was a pretty interesting one, so yeah, I would like to learn about it more, so yeah. Again, yeah, I think I still have a lot to learn about Morvia. Maybe I should have read up on him before this, but that's okay. I do like him quite a bit. And yeah, as a unit, yeah, he does his job as a late game filler unit quite well. He's no Goto, but he will do the job, especially if you need more staff units. And yeah, you can even reunite him with Micaiah as well, which is definitely not bad, yeah. Unless you have a perfectly fine Micaiah user, so yeah. And again, if you want to spice them up obviously, but keep a similar role, you can make him a Griffin. Griffin was pretty fun, even if again, it makes him look horrendous, but yeah. So yeah, I quite like Morvia. Quite a bit, so yeah. As a late game unit, not like, I don't like love him or anything, but yeah, I do quite like him quite a bit. I do like what he does in the plot, especially when he joins you, so yeah. Again, I'm pretty positive with this dude, I must say. So anyway, now that's done, only one more unit to talk about before we have to move on to DLC, so let's do it. Let's talk about Veil. So, Veil is the last unit recruit in the main plot. This kind of DLC obviously, so yeah, you get in chapter 22 after you save her from the mind control kind of. Yeah, she basically banished the Dark Persona, which yeah, we'll go into that in a bit. And now she'll join you. So, as a unit, yeah, again, she fulfills a late game filler role, but a pretty interesting one to be honest. Of course, her main strength is very similar to Liz. The fact that she's a dragon unit. She's level 55 Veil Child, which yeah, it's again a dragon unit. So it gets the dragon type bonuses from engaging, and yeah, those are really powerful. And yeah, the idea of course is basically let Veil use maybe what Alir was using in fact, because yeah, after this that Alir gets engage plus obviously. So Alir's probably going to be using that a lot. So yeah, like for example, I think this happened a lot on my brother's end, but yeah, he normally gives Alir or Byleth to Alir, and then after that, Byleth goes on to Veil. And then Veil can start going for the Instructs and the God stances that boost those stats. That's pretty nice. But yeah, Veil of course can be a little bit more creative. And of course, that's what you want to be doing, because the thing about her classes, even though it's technically not too bad, it will have lower stats than most other classes. Again, you're trading some stats for stronger type bonuses, so yeah. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of strong ones, both on the support end and also the offensive end. Now of course, Veil is a bit more unique when compared to Alir in that regard, because they're more magic focused unit. Let's go over growth rates now, I think. She has 50 HP, 35 strength, 70 magic, 45 dex, 35 speed, 35 defense, 60 res, 20 luck, and 0 build. Yep. But also pretty decent base stats too. She is a bit squishy, but she does get one-shot by corrupted worms because of her kind of low HP, so you may want to consider giving her a robe if you want to use her a lot, so yeah. I recommend being a little bit careful because of that, so yeah. Um, but other than that though, however, stats are pretty good. Even her strength is not too bad if you want to experiment with that too. Um, of course, if you're gonna use her like I did in my last playthrough, you may want to consider some stat boosters. Basically, I did use her pretty aggressively in that playthrough, which yeah, I'll talk about in a bit. Because I reclassed it, but yeah, we'll go over that bit. But yeah, as a base class, if you do, of course, the support angle we'll go over first. Like I said, Bio's a good choice. Makai is also a good choice because she'll get A rank and stars eventually, thanks to the cleric skill that Makai has. So yeah, she'll be able to use any important stuff. And yeah, I believe that dragons do get extra range, which can be useful. Corrin is another good choice because Corrin can choose any Dragon Vein with a Dragon unit. So then, yeah, you can basically adapt to any situation you want, which is very nice. That's also strong support. On the DLC end, of course, Rock is pretty strong with a Dragon unit too, because they're able to summon a 4-star or a 5-star unit, no 3-star unit, which, yeah, that can be very useful as well. And yeah, like I said, the potential that her support niche has, thanks to all the embers, is pretty good. So yeah, I definitely recommend looking into that. Those are some of the ones that come to mind. But yeah, let's go on to the offensive end, which is the more interesting one because of her magical focus. So yeah, she can use some magical type bonuses that Alear might have problems with because Alear's dragon class is not as good at using magic as Veil's. So I think there's two big beneficiaries. One is Celica. Celica gets extra range from both Warp Ragnarok and Echo, but it's interesting because it actually increases the range of the tome. So when she uses Echo, she can basically get extra range from the tome. It's kind of like Thyrsus, which is really cool. And then yeah, Warp Ragnarok also attacks from free range as well, which is really cool. There's also Soren too, but I'm going to talk about Soren when we talk about her personal weapons, because one of the personal weapons does work quite well with Soren, and their bonus. So yeah, I think now let's talk about those personal weapons, because they're pretty interesting. Both weapons do have their rules with her. We'll talk about her exclusive term, Obscurity. So Obscurity is only for Fel dragons. It's the only dark term in the game actually, which is interesting, but anyway. So what it does, it has 14 might, 80 hit, 10 crit, 12 weight, 1 to 2 range. It lays it down a lot. She gets weighed down 5 by it, putting it down to usually 18 AS. But yeah, of course though, it has a crit bonus, so here's what you do. If you want to use Obscurity a lot, you go for a lot of criticals. The best way to use that though is definitely Soren, because Soren's Flare skill with a dragon doubles the crit rate. So with a nice engrave on Obscurity, you can actually pretty easily get to 100% crit, and also you'll get healing from Flare as well. So it basically becomes like a Nosferatu build, kind of. A pretty strong one too, because yeah, she'll crit the enemy and get back all the health she needs. So yeah, a pretty strong build this one, and again, shows kind of how busted Soren is. I didn't mention another build with Soren, which is the Kiedet build, where it's only really good on John, but it is pretty powerful. Basically, Kiedets heal fully with Flare, so yeah, any damage they deal, they get back. So pretty good for John as well, if you decide to keep him a Martial Master. And yeah, those are the two main ones that come to mind that take advantage of Veil being a magical dragon, so yeah. There are probably some other ones too, but yeah, there's quite a lot that dragons get with these emblems, so yeah, let me know what you also like with Veil. Of course, you can also reclass it too, if you make her like a Sage, that bit of magic, which can be useful. Especially if you don't really care about the dragon type bonuses for the role you have for her, so yeah. That also comes to mind. She still gets Obscurity though. I didn't talk about her other weapon, but I'll talk about that with the reclassing too, because it released that. They can still use Obscurity though. It's a personal weapon for her and Sombra basically, so yeah, even if she reclasses, she can still use it, and the same goes for her other weapon too, which yeah, I think I'll mention now. So her other weapon it's kind of the opposite of Skirte. While Skirte was heavy but had a lot of might, her other weapon, Misery Chord, is kind of the opposite. So, Misery Chord, it has 7 might, 90 hit, 0 crit, 6 weight, 1 to 2 range. What's cool about this weapon is that, despite being a dagger, it's actually a magic dagger. It inflicts magic damage and it still poisons, so that's pretty cool. And with its weight of 6, Veil doesn't get weighed down by it at all. And like other daggers, it forges very similarly. It gets plus 2 might, so it becomes quite strong when forged. So decided to have some fun with this. I made her a thief in my last playthrough. I did give her some stat boosters, but yeah, I made her do the fog machine build. And yeah, with Misery Chord, of course, she can basically become a magical thief with that. And it was actually a lot of fun, to be honest. It's not what I call a good build, because I had to use a lot of stat boosts on her to do it, but again, I had a lot of fun doing that, because yeah, she's kind of like, well, yeah, a magical version of what Minaka and Zilkov can do with their fog machine builds. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I want to say one thing about her though, she does look kind of ridiculous in reclass. She doesn't tie up her hair or anything like that, so yeah, it kind of leads to some weird results, but anyway. So yeah, that's Veil as a unit, I feel like. Yeah, like I said, she's a fun unit, to be honest. I do like her character quite a bit, which yeah, again, that kind of incentivizes you to try and get creative and use her a lot in at the end of the game, so yeah. I haven't used it too much at the end of the game, to be honest, but yeah, that Thief build is one that comes to mind. That was a really fun one. And again, yeah, you can always see like reclass her out, try some different classes too. You can definitely have a good amount of fun with Veil as a unit. But yeah, why did I like go into like a lot of effort to like reclass and stuff and try to use her in different ways? It is because I really adore her character. So yeah, I don't know if I was expecting her to be recruitable or not. Oh yeah, I forgot about 2 more things before we go into that. Her personal skill and a personal class skill as a Fel child. So the personal skill is called Fel Protection, the opposite of Liz, so it's actually a really good one. Adjacent allies deal 1 damage and take 3 less damage, so yeah. Of course, you can combine that with Lid too, and yeah, it makes Veil an amazing support unit if you needed to do that. And then for the class skill, that one is Fel Spirit, I do believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, it is Fel Spirit. So, Fel Spirit, what that does is, at the start of each turn, units engagement is filled by 1. So, again, that can help her get into engaging and, you know, using the type bonuses more. Which, again, it does fit into a playstyle, so it makes a lot of sense. But anyway, now let's finally talk about Veil as a character. So yeah, of course, she's definitely a main character. She does a lot throughout the game, so yeah. Yeah, that's why I consider her a main character. Of course, yeah, you meet at the beginning, she saves Alear, and then Alear meets them again in the Naka map, and then yeah, notices that she has an injury on her leg, which also shows that she walks barefoot, just like Sophus and Corrin, which not a big fan, but anyway. At least, you know, in the Somniel she actually wears shoes, but on Bal, it's kind of weird, but anyway. Anyway, enough of the weird stuff. Yeah, Alear then ties up the injury, but then the next time we meet, things get a little bit weird, where it's just before Destiny Cathedral, where she acts kind of oddly when Alear mentions the rings. They kind of just brush it off and then go to the cathedral. But then it's revealed that, yeah, Hortensia doesn't like what happened to her father being Ian, so she reviews the hood of the hooded figure, and guess what? Veil. But this Veil acts completely differently and also has some red eyes too. And yeah, Leia doesn't know how to process this. So yeah, of course, she takes the rings, and then you're forced to flee from her in Chapter 11. In Chapter 11, she's invincible. She does take damage from like fire and stuff, but you can't kill her, so yeah, no point doing that. I was thinking about maybe going after her, but yeah, you can't. You can go after the other enemies near her, but not, and even the hounds, but her, you can't kill her. So yeah, of course, that's probably because of plot reasons, but anyway. So with that, The next time you meet her is kind of interesting. You actually meet her at the end of chapter 15, but Alea's having none of that. Yeah, she thinks that Vale is up to something nefarious because, of course, she kind of stole the rings and probably is there to steal more. But Vale again acts like the one that we met before. So what could this mean? And yeah, she also runs us scared after, well, Alea, you know, frightens her. She doesn't even know that, yeah, that this other Vale is doing these bad things, and yeah, I think it is actually revealed during this part of the game too. I think it was actually before, but yeah, we learned that, yeah, it's not two different Vales, it's the fact that, it's two different personas. So yeah, one Vale, of course, is very cruel, and the other one's very kind. Pretty simple stuff. But yeah, the next time we see her though is in chapter 17, and yeah, this is revealed to Alea that yeah, that Vale has two different personas. And then yeah, she fights with the evil persona again with Marth, obviously, because yeah, Marth was Alea's best friend. So yeah, you defeat her, and then something interesting happens where she tosses our Alea the Sigurd ring, but then gets beaten up by gets punished by Zephyr after doing that. And yeah, Sombron ain't too pleased about that either, so they decide to yeah, enhance things a bit. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure Namat 2 it's revealed that the reason why Vale is able to go into this dark persona is because of mind controlling magic from both Sombron and Zephyr. So then yeah, they get to work with that, and then next time we see Vale is during chapter 21, where yeah, she has the crown that Sombron gave to Zephyr as a gift, and yeah, now she's completely into a dark persona, and even talks a little bit differently too. So yeah, use this mat to defeat her. She's once again equipped with Marth. You take her out, and apparently, yeah, Marnie did actually manage to crack the helmet. But then the plot gets kind of stupid. Alea decides to block Sombron's fatal attack, and then they die, protecting Vale. Oh yeah, it's also revealed tier 2. It was probably pretty obvious, but yeah, Vale has a Dragonstone. And this Dragonstone is from her sibling. And yeah, this was pretty obvious who the sibling was because of our playthroughs. I had Setsuko, obviously, a female Alea, and my brother has a male Alea, and then yeah, when she mentioned the gender of her sibling, yeah, it's pretty obvious who it was. But anyway, so that happens, and then Vale also kind of dies too. Apparently her other persona kind of took over, and then they have a chat about what they're going to do in chapter 22. Alea suggests to revive them with the corrupted power, because there's something that Vale can do is that she can bring back people as the corrupted, but they look like their normal selves, basically, kind of like with Hyacinth in chapter 17. And then Alea gives Vale the encouragement to fight against the evil persona, and then yeah, she completely takes her over, and the evil persona is no more. Here's a fun fact about that scene. So when Alea and Vale are talking, he uses the background of Zilka's peaceful. I'm not joking. Anyway, so yeah, that's when Vale joins, and yeah, she basically becomes the main character for the rest of the plot. I mean, not the main character, one of the main characters. She definitely does the most out of all the other main characters. Because yeah, she does her best, but unfortunately, yeah, the corrupt body can't hold up, so then Alea dies again, but then the emblems decide to use their miracle power and make Alea an emblem, and that means Engage Plus, obviously. And now they get to Graddon to take on Sombron. And of course, this is quite an important fight for Vale too, because this is an important fight for Vale too, because yeah, this is going up against the father as well. And yeah, something very interestingly mentioned in the Alea support too. A very good support too, because again, it once again is another good sibling relationship, because again, they are, well, either brother or sister and sister. And yeah, in the A support they mentioned that yeah, how they feel about having to fight their father Sombron, and yeah, Vale is determined to take him on if it means to save the world. So yeah, the next map is the one where you kill off the hounds for real, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, not really, to be honest. It's alright for Vale, I guess, but yeah, again, I don't really like the scene that happens afterwards, but yeah. Oh well, I've already talked about how I don't like it before, so yeah, I won't repeat myself. The next set though is interesting though, where yeah, you get Zephyr's time warp crystal thing. That takes you back to the past, excuse me, where Alear was a full Feltraken, and yeah, as you can probably tell by the personality, yeah, it wasn't a good time. They're completely emotionless, and yeah, they're pretty broken because of what happened to the other siblings and the corrupted. It's why Alear has the fear of the corrupted in the first place, and yeah, Vale actually has a boss quote with the past Alear. It's a pretty good one from I remember too, because yeah, I think that yeah, past Alear recognizes Vale too. It's pretty interesting stuff because yeah, he even liked Vale way back when, which yeah, we did know thanks to the Alear support too, because yeah, that's why she kept the Dragonstones as safe, like a talisman, a safekeeping tool. It kind of got broken when Alear died, but anyway, when they died, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna joke about that scene again, but anyway. The next map though is a really cool one for Vale though. It's the second to last map, chapter 25. You had to fight the corrupted Lumira, and Vale really didn't want Alear to go through the pain of having to kill their adopted mother, so she decides she's gonna take on Lumira herself. But then yeah, Alear does care a lot for Vale as a sibling obviously, so yeah, they come in and then help her out, and yeah, Alear does still suffer quite an important fight, and yeah, they do end up in the end, and then it's off to fight Sombron. And yeah, Vale is obviously there to help out. She doesn't do much else after that, but I did like her plot relevance. Of course, yeah, she's basically a main character, and I basically talked about the whole plot, but I kind of wanted to, because I like Vale as a character. Probably one of my favorite main characters in the plot because of what she does. On to supports, there's a good mix. There's some comedic supports where, like, for example, there's the Alfred one where, I mean, there is something interesting about that one where, yeah, Vale has really loves spicy food. She is a dragon after all, so I guess it makes sense. So yeah, Alfred tries the spicy food, and yeah, he completely burns himself, and it leaves some funny dialogue. So yeah, that was fun. Especially if you don't like Alfred, but anyway. This is interesting for the Ivy support, where it's a more serious support this time. Basically, yeah, she feels very apologetic for what happened with Sombron. Not Sombron and Hyacinth. So yeah, and Vale, not Vale, Ivy doesn't want her to be like that, so then yeah. Vale's like, what can I do to redeem myself? And then Vale suggests to eat some spicy food. Because the thing about the two personas is that the evil Vale actually likes sweet food, but the kind normal Vale likes spicy food, and yeah, it does kind of shock them. It also shocks Hortensia and her support too. Like yeah, although in for the Hortensia support, it's a bit more important. But anyway, so yeah, there's that. I did like that IU support quite a bit too. Again, redeeming herself is quite an important part of her plot. It's definitely seen a lot of her supports. But yeah, another comedic support is the Tamara one, where she rides a wolf, she doesn't like it, and yeah, she thought she was gonna die. I don't really remember much else on that, but yeah, I think Tamara knew what she was doing, to be honest. So yeah. Yeah, she actually supports all the roles, I think. They're pretty good supports from her. I think the Diamond one is pretty good too. But yeah. Let's move on to the Hortensia one, which is a very important one. Basically, Hortensia can't forgive Vale for what she did to Sombron, even though it was the evil Vale that did that. And yeah, that does cause a lot of friction. But then Vale talks about her backstory and how she lived. Her mother was persecuted for being Sombron's mate, and then yeah, she eventually died. Her mother was a very kind mage dragon, much like Vale herself most likely, so yeah. It also explains why Vale is good at magic, obviously, but anyway. But yeah, this kind of reminds Hortensia as well. I believe her mother was also persecuted very harshly too, I think, in the Illusion World Court. I think that's something mentioned in the Ivy support, so yeah, that definitely strikes a chord with her. And then yeah, by the end, Hortensia does forgive, yeah, she does forgive her actions. she does think that, yeah, she was being wrong for treating Veil super poorly like that and not thinking about her things too. And then, yeah, that's when, yeah, Veil takes some spicy food, and then, yeah, it kind of reveals to Hortensia, yeah, the two Veils are pretty different people. So, yeah, definitely probably my favorite support with Veil, actually. And yeah, I guess I didn't mention the DLC characters that much, but yeah, Veil supports them too. I'll talk about that when we talk about the DLC side, because I think it's more important there, but yeah, they're also great supports. In fact, yeah, that's just the general thing. Veil has some very great supports. Even the bond conversations are very wholesome too, where, yeah, all the Ember's reassured that, yeah, she can become the good person that she wants to be despite what happened in the past, so yeah. I think, yeah, I think that's another thing too about Veil. I think, yeah, we might need to put under the Maki effect, where, yeah, I talked about the Maki effect in FE12. Basically, a character, mostly a female unit, who had such a bad past, and you want to see them, and they try to redeem themselves, and I mean, it's basically, yeah, they have such a bad past, and you just want to see them live a much happier life, and yeah, Veil definitely fits that. It's the name of the Maki Tsunemura in Persona 1, who really fits that. But anyway. Yeah, I think, yeah, Veil probably deserves to be a member of the Maki effect. Other characters come to mind are Katarina from FE12 and also Ren in Trails, so yeah. Anyway, so that's all I really got to say about Veil for now. Very interesting unit. Does a role of late game filler unit quite well, and also there's also some potential to get creative, like I did with the Thief build. That was a really fun build, even if I wouldn't consider it super good. So yeah. And of course, I love a character. Really well done character, to be honest. I won't, yeah, not much was done that was bad with her. It's maybe the other villains that were super great, but yeah. Yeah, I did like how they handled Veil too. My only nitpick is, yeah, again, not wearing any shoes, but yeah, what can you do? But anyway, yep, I think that's it. So yeah, overall, I do really like Fire Engage's cast. There's no unit I dislike. You could probably tell by the tone of my voice for most of these that, yeah, I was super positive. I really like talking about this cast, and yeah, I was very glad that I was able to in this little video series, so yeah. Again, I do love this game quite a bit. I have a lot of fun talking about it, and yeah, I do like talking about this cast too. And yeah, I hope I did a good enough job talking about it as well. In my own unique way with the gameplay in the background, but yeah. So, yeah. And of course, you already know, Lapis is still my favorite unit. My tier list might need a little bit of adjustment too, but I am willing to wait a bit and maybe see that playthrough that's gonna happen soon, so yeah. Maybe then will be a good time, because yeah, I can obviously learn a lot from another playthrough, so yeah. Or even like another playthrough for myself too, so yeah, maybe I can make some adjustments then. So yeah, like I said, I love this cast a lot, and yeah, I love talking about it to everyone here. And yeah, I love talking about this cast a lot. And yeah, I love talking about it in the comments too. And yeah, it was a treat to talk about how I felt about the characters, the unit performance and all that. And yeah, we'll see where we're gonna go on from there. Like I said, yeah, we're gonna be doing DLC characters. There's only 5 of them, but yeah, I'm gonna be splitting it in 2 videos, I'm pretty sure, so yeah. Especially because, yeah, I could see myself talking a long time about the DLC. Because again, I do have some feelings about it, so yeah. I think that's good for now. So yeah, those are the late game units in Fire Engage. And yeah, like I said, that rounds up the class. So yeah, like I said, next time we're going to be talking DLC units. So yeah, look forward to that. And I'll see you guys again for